In this video I'm gonna share with you how to get the highest possible critical damage with the best hunter build. Every piece of armor, weapons, runes and all perks you need to activate in order to reach this insane critical damage. We are not talking about 1000, 2000 or 3000, we are talking about 5000 plus critical damage. Even if you're not power level 400, you're probably gonna be able to deal between 4 and 5000 damage. I've tested a lot. Probably every possible build that have the potential to be the best one, and after hundreds, well, thousands of killed enemies, I finally found the best hunter build in the game. I named this build Norse Hunter God because this is what it is. It literally makes you feel like a god. You know what I mean? No, serious now. You can one-shot kill weaker enemies at close range as well as at long range, and also very easily kill all elite enemies with only 2 or 3 shots on very hard difficulty, and sometimes only 1 if it's placed perfectly. Now, this build is a little bit tricky and you are gonna find out why in the next few minutes. Also, leaving a like on this video will help me a lot, so let's say 100 likes would be really awesome. And also, consider subscribing if you like such type of content, because I am gonna share even more amazing builds with you. For this build you are gonna need 2 pieces of Huntsman armor and in my case 3 pieces of Einherjar armor set. But if you don't have it, you can replace those 3 pieces with the Mentor's armor. I also tested it and the results are almost the same. From weapons you are gonna need Fjord Axe, Modranit Ceremonial Dagger, a weapon that you can buy during Yule Festival. Happened on the end of 2020 and the start of 2021, so if you don't have it and there are no possibilities of getting it in the future, you can replace it with a Hundhut dagger, and the last and the most important one is Hanish bow, as the most powerful hunter bow in the game. If there is anything you don't have yet, search for it here on YouTube after this video and I am sure you are gonna find what you need. Now let's go into the perks and runes you need for this build. 2 pieces of Huntsman armor set gives you a perk which increases range damage when hitting enemies further than 20 meters away. It stacks up to 5 times and it gives you the bonus up to 25 ranged damage. On Huntsman cloak you need to put 3 hunter runes. It's not a big deal if you don't have great runes for every piece of armor you are using, but try to avoid the minor ones. In case you have enough great hunter runes, 3 of them will give you plus 6 range damage. On Huntsman armor or torso, if that's how you call it, you need to put a major rune called Raven rune, which increases your range damage the lower your health is, and I also did the math for you and found out that you get plus 1.5 range damage when you are under 75%, plus 6 when you are under 50%, and plus 25 when you are under 20% of your health. And on the rest 2 slots you need to put hunter runes as well. 2 pieces of Einherjar armor set gives you a perk which increases attack after each kill up to 3 times and up to plus 30 attack for 50 seconds. The reason why I am using Einherjar armor is because it's one of the few armor sets that you can put major runes on every piece of armor, but I hope that Ubisoft change this in the future and either makes that every armor set have this possibility or none of them. These 3 major runes don't have nothing to do with what we are trying to achieve, and the reason I did so is to make a balance between this and Mentor's armor set. I would recommend you to use only hunter runes, but if you don't have enough you can also use shadow runes, which increases stealth damage, so when you are undetected you deal more stealth damage with your bow, or assassin runes, which have no effect on your bow but will increase your assassination damage. Unfortunately, these are the only 3 armor runes that gives you damage boosts, but let's hope this changes in the future as well. Hanish bow has a perk which increases range damage when hitting a weak point. The best is that you need to hit only one weak point in order to get plus 15 range damage bonus for the duration of 20 seconds, what is absolutely great. In major slot I've put Heavy Fury rune, which increases range damage the heavier you are, and in this case that will be +9. Now, for all weapons, I would recommend you to use critical damage runes, but if you don't have enough for every slot, you can also use headshot, attack, ally damage, or even back damage runes. Feared Axe has a perk that increases your critical damage for +25 right after your health goes under 50%, and you can put a major rune called Overwhelmed Perfection rune, which increases critical damage when surrounded by 3 or more enemies. So for 3 you'll get +6.7, for 4 +13.3, and for 5+ you are gonna get +20 critical damage. If you would like to wear two-handed axe, you can replace Feared Axe with Lagetta's axe, but be sure to have Desperate Perfection rune in order to have same effect on this build. The perk on the Modranith Ceremonial Dagger increases critical chance after a kill for +30, and it gives you that bonus for 8 seconds, which means if you kill anything every 8 seconds, and I say anything because animals and civilians also count, you will have +30 critical chance until there is no more enemy left. And for even higher critical chance, you should use Desperate Theft rune for another +10 critical chance when your health is below 50%. And as I mentioned before, if you don't have this dagger, you can replace it with Huntut dagger, which already has a perk for +10 critical chance when below 50%, with the major Light Theft rune that increases critical chance the lighter you are, with 2 critical chance runes, what is right what you need, especially if you are wearing light Mentor's armor, with a perk to increase attack after critical hits up to 5 times for a bonus of +20 attack for 35 seconds. And here are the calculations of all bonuses you get when you activate every perk plus rune bonuses, so let's round up. You get +100 range damage as well as +100 critical damage, +40 critical chance, which again I added only in case you replace Einherjar armor with Mentor's armor, and +30 attack. It's really not that hard to activate those perks, cause you can already have 4 of them activated whole time as long as your health is under 25%. And most of other perks stay activated very long, what makes easier to focus on those shorter ones. There are also some skills and one ability you'll need in order to reach this insane critical damage. So let's start with skills first. First and most important one is Charge Shot. With this skill you will be able to shoot 2 arrows at once and will also deal double damage. Next one is Arrow Reinforcement, which allows you to pick up every arrow that you shooted by running over it, cause you don't want to run out of arrows, right? The third one is Last Chance Healing, which gives you, like the name says, a chance to heal instead of dying. And again, we are using 2 perks which requires to be under 50% of your health, and one that requires to be under 25% for the max bonus. And one more skill you will need for fast perks activation, and that's Adrenaline Upgrade, which is only 7 skills points away from Last Chance Healing. It gives you +1 adrenaline slot, and as I said before, you'll need only one ability in order to make it easier for you, and that's the focus of the Nornir, which slows down everything except your bow and arrows, and that's the perfect and the only one you will need to easily activate perks of the Huntsman set. At the time I am recording this, there is one trick to easier get this and some other perks which requires to hit enemies, but I'm not sure if Ubisoft already patched this one at the time you are watching this video. but I'll show you anyway. The developers made easier for them by doing this way. What they did is, they connected all enemies with the ground so that they can implement some codes on all enemies at once. What they didn't thought about, or maybe they did but they hoped no one will find out, is that when you need to activate any perk that requires to hit enemies, you only need to hit the ground and your perk is activated, but only ground. So if you are hitting some other environment, this will not work. Except you have some perks that requires to hit anything, cause those codes are not connected with the buildings, but only with the living creatures in the world. For example, the Hunter's Armor perk increases your hunter damage when you are hitting enemies that are further than 20 meters away, which means if you are 20 meters away from closest enemy and you are shooting or hitting the ground, you will activate this perk. But if one enemy is closer than 20 meters away and other is far enough, this will not work cause the game count only the closest one, like I showed you here. Now, the tricky part of this build is the calculation of damage dealt to the enemies. It's unknown for me and I'm sure for everyone else as well, so it's hard to explain why this happened, what I'm about to show you now. First, I'll show you a few high critical damage with almost or all perks activated. As you can see, I am dealing decent amount of damage, but then in some where I have activated only some of them, the damage is even higher, and in both cases I am playing on very hard game difficulty and I'm using 100% same build. My theories are that the developers made enemies' heads and probably parts of the body as well, something like shooting targets. So when you are shooting in the center, in this case probably eyes, then you deal even more damage. Like I said, this is only my theory, but it's only thing what makes sense to me. Another very important thing I want to share with you is that when I am testing something, I am doing everything multiple times in order to be sure that when I give you the best build for a particular playstyle, that this is really the best one. For example, on this build I was working for about 60 hours, and for the next one I'll do same, cause for me it's very important to be correct and not only choose some random armor, weapons and runes that have the potential to be the best one, put them together and tell you, hey, this is the best build in the game. No, that's not me. Next build I'll test for you and of course for myself as well, cause I also have fun using them. There are really a lot of potential builds like highest DPS, highest critical chance, highest stealth damage, infinite life build, or even best resistance build. By the way, if you're watching this video in a few weeks or months, there are probably gonna be some other amazing builds for you. But if you're watching this in the time there are no other builds I made for you, I want you to comment down below what build do you want to see next, and I'll make sure to make one for which most of you are interested in. And please, don't forget to leave a like on this video, cause that means a lot to me and it's only one click for you. Subscribe to the channel and have a nice day.